School's out, but it's not spring break. We'll take a look at the strike in LA today.
After fighting for nearly 50 years, many in South Texas can finally take a deep breath. Kastner Range is protected.
And rising costs are leaving many Americans hungry, even in school cafes. How inflation is affecting students nationwide today.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV News at Noon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining ntTV News at Noon. I'm Lillian Kosh.
And I'm Ariana Williams. More than 500,000 kids didn't go to school in the nation's largest school district on Tuesday. But union school workers did with picket signs. After nearly a year of negotiations with the Los Angeles School District, the union representing nearly 30,000 support staff called a 3-day strike. An attempt at last-minute talks failed on Monday. Mike Valerio has the latest.
Union school service workers on the picket line in Los Angeles. With them, a union representing around 30,000 LA public school teachers.
We start this solidarity strike in support of SEIU Local 99.
We know losing pay will be difficult, but LAUSD has pushed us to a strike.
Cafeteria workers, custodians, bus drivers, and more, all fed up and united in their demands, primarily a 30% pay raise, one that could pull many union members above the state's poverty line.
Who can live on $25,000 a year?
House Democratic Congressmember Adam Schiff warning that 1 in 3 of the striking workers is at risk of homelessness.
They have to spend 85% of their income just to keep a roof over their head.
We know it is hard for our students and their families, but the permanent change that we're asking for will help students forever.
The LA Unified School District's latest offer included a 23% pay raise and full health benefits for some part-time workers. That was rejected by the union.
We have been at a fixed position for a long time. We want to land a historic contract that honors the work of our workforce.
Striking workers say their demands are fair and clear.
The onus is on the district. Did y'all hear me? The onus is on this district.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
The residents of Uvalde got a first look last night at a new elementary school set to be built in town. The Uvalde CISD Committee Advisory Committee and the Moving Forward Foundation held a special presentation on Tuesday evening where they unveiled plans for the 2-story school. Once completed, the school will be home to up to 800 local 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders. The school is set to include state-of-the-art STEM labs as well as play and recreational areas. The Uvalde School Board is expected to vote on the design sometime soon.
As Denton continues to grow, so does the amount of options local shoppers have to choose from. A new complex in the Razor Ranch Town Center will add over 300,000 square feet of retail space and bring in major sellers like Target, Dick's Sporting Goods, and at-home furniture. Additionally, new Portillo's restaurant is moving into the town center, and a Home Depot will soon be under construction across the street.
Meanwhile, in California, groceries and good prices are on the rise after an unusual amount of destructive storms tore across the state this winter. Local farmers are feeling the effects, with many completely replanting their fields after the floods. Tori Apodaca takes a look at the impact this could have on food prices nationwide.
California is the leading agricultural state in the United States.
But now all the rain that has flooded farm fields is becoming a burden to the booming business.
You cannot get a tractor onto your land when it's all muddy.
The longer you delay planting, the longer you're going to have to wait for those crops in the grocery stores.
Produce expert Michael Marks tells CBS 13 some farmers in the Salinas Valley have had to restart planting altogether.
That's the salad bowl for the United States.
Marks says the rain has flooded the farms plus nearby cattle ranches, forcing farmers to test the land before planting.
Because we don't want any outbreak, salmonella or E. coli outbreak later on when those fields come up with things like lettuces and spinach.
It's not just our greens and veggies being hit. The rain is also knocking off blossoms on fruit trees.
The less fruit you're going to have in the summertime and in the fall time.
And take tomatoes, for example. Mark says California grows 99% of all tomatoes for processed canned goods. So our pasta and pizza sauces may also be at risk.
All of that's grown in the San Joaquin Valley and the Sacramento Valley. Well, that's going to cut the supply. That's going to impact prices of tomato sauce all the way into next year.
The solution farmers want to see?
We need is more storage in California to capture the rain when it's here for the years when we don't have the rain.
You know, it's pretty crazy to me that the weather can cause so many issues that we can't control.
I know, and I mean, unfortunately for us, our weatherman, Victor Villagran, can't control the weather. But I mean, if he could, I'm sure he'd give us something good. Right, Victor?
Thanks, y'all. And yeah, for sure, I'd give us something good. Probably something with like, feeling cloudy with some high wind speeds. That's my preferred weather. And funny enough, that's kind of what we're getting right now. See, we're sitting at 75 degrees. It's feeling like 75. And we're getting these high wind speeds at 20 miles per hour. But we're still just seeing clouds. No rain, no sun, none of that right now. Tonight, though, it's going to be relatively the same. The temperature is going to increase a little bit. It's going to be sitting at 79, feeling like 81, and that wind speed is still going to be staying high up in 18 miles per hour range. Tomorrow, though, it's going to be a little bit different. Now, doesn't look very different at first. 75, 75 again with 16 miles per hour wind speeds. It's going to be cloudy, but there might be a little bit something else that I'm going to tell y'all more about later on in the show. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Victor. 11 people have been arrested in Plano for their roles in an alleged retail crime ring. Plano officials say the group targeted major retail stores and recently stole over $15,000 in merchandise. The arrest involved incidents at several different stores, and police say they completed the investigation with the help of retail stores and special detectives. Meanwhile, the Denton Police Department has been investigating a series of local thefts in a more unusual spot. Trampoline parks are typically known for fun for all ages, but for a couple teenagers, their recent visit ended with a trip to the police station and the hospital. Reporter Sydney Jolivet has the details on these local jumpings, thefts, and fights taking place just down I-35. Sydney?
That's right. According to a police report that was filed Monday, one mom claimed that her teenage daughter was assaulted by some kids at a trampoline park, leaving her with a concussion and stolen jewelry. The mom stated that the jumping happened in the 2400 block of I-35 Southeast. The 15-year-old girl said that the jumping was by kids she knew, and the jewelry that was stolen was estimated to be worth $3,500. Her iPhone, worth $1,100, was also broken during the assault and deemed unusable. Police spokesperson Amy Cunningham said there is no clear number of how many people were involved based on the report. At least 2 were involved, but a larger number is possible. The mother would like to press charges against these suspects. Unfortunately, this is not the only report we have seen come out of the 2400 block of South I-35 East. Another woman reported Monday that her sons were jumped by a group of boys near the same trampoline park on Saturday. The mother stated that her 2 sons were verbally harassed by a group of boys. They allegedly waited for them to exit a business and jumped one of them. She also provided the police with footage of a group of boys in a fight. She claims during the fight, one of her sons was pushed to the ground, resulting in bruises and scrapes. While police are still investigating the assault and aforementioned robbery, Cunningham said the listed suspects on each report do not include any overlapping names, but that could change. That's all I have for you. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Sydney. One of the leading causes of unintentional deaths in the U.S. is entirely preventable. We'll take a look at some poison safety tips when we come back.
And one wrong move could send the country into a recession or send inflation through the roof. What the Federal Reserve plans to do next after the break.
what does Talents do?
So I'm the Vice President of External Relations for Talents. That means that I basically oversee all the external committees. Our external committees entail our Model A, it's a Mean Green Machine. So they bring it to football games especially, so every game it's kind of there, every home game. The Model A is like a symbol of UNC pride, and it's a big tradition that we are so lucky to uphold and maintain. When people look at it, they see it, and they're like, oh, that's the Mean Green Machine. There must be a game today or something to ramp up school spirit for basketball, softball, volleyball, any of those things. We have amazing teams, so we just want to show school spirit for them. Bonfire Committee, which is in charge of putting together the bonfire every year for homecoming. It's kind of just a whole semester-long process up until Build Week that we have to put together and oversee and make sure safety regulations are followed and risk management is taken care of. Cannon Crew, which oversees and takes care of the cannon. They fire it at games, they take it to special occasions.
Cause of unintentional deaths in the U.S. every year. Millions of calls come into the poison control centers following accidental poisonings, many of them involving young children. CNN reporter Mandy Gaither has more on the dangers and what you need to know to keep you and your family safe.
It can happen in an instant. A child ingests something they shouldn't have.
They can be quite scary and dangerous symptoms depending on what the child might have gotten into.
Dr. Manisha Agarwal specializes in pediatric poison prevention. She says many things little hands may find in a house can be poisonous.
Most commonly, we see children who happen to get into cleaning products, cosmetics, and then medications.
Agarwal says medical professionals are also seeing more children getting into edibles, which look like candy but contain derivatives of marijuana. To protect children, Agarwal says to store edibles separately from other foods. You should also keep other medications up and away from the reach of children. Securely store all cleaning products. Talk to anyone coming into your home or those you go to visit.
If you don't have a toddler in your home every day, you might not think about what they can get into really easily.
Button batteries are also dangerous if ingested. Agarwal says to keep them away from kids and check your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors often to make sure they're working.
Ultimately, there is always the amazing people at the Poison Control Center there to help you out if you happen to get into anything.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Experts say it's also important to keep the number to the poison helpline handy. That number is 1-800-222-1222.
Yesterday, President Joe Biden officially established Kastner Range as a national monument in El Paso, Texas. Declaring Kastner Range as a national monument protects the native plants and animals for the long haul. The local cultural ecology is considered to sacred several indigenous communities and has served as a training and testing site for the U.S. Army during World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Because military ordnance and explosives pose as a safety risk, the site is close to public access, but after 50 years of fighting to protect this preserve, everyone will soon be able to enjoy the national beauty of the expansive landmark for the years to come.
I love going out and getting a good hike in, but not when the weather's yucky.
Yeah, no, same here, I agree. But luckily, Victor's pretty accurate all the time with his weather reports, so let's go ahead and see if this week will be a great week to go out and get some fresh air.
Thanks, y'all. If 7 is your lucky number, today is going to be your day because we're seeing a bunch of 7 today. All across North Texas, 75, 74, 72, 74, 73. All these low to mid to mostly mid 70 numbers is what we're seeing across North Texas, and it's pretty consistent all throughout. Now, let's take a wider look. I'm about to blow your mind because all of Texas is also seeing a bunch of 70s, except for Amarillo up here. It's at 67. Close enough, right? But we're seeing a bunch of mid 70s all across North Texas, even El Paso, different time zone. It's still 71. we're just seeing these consistent warm numbers that people generally like, and that's a good thing. Now, moving on to our 7-day forecast, the rest of the week has something different in store for us. Right now, today, high of 82, low of 66, we're getting those clouds. Tomorrow, we're gonna be seeing a high of 79, low of 63, pretty cloudy earlier in the day. But what's really important about tomorrow is later tonight, we're going to be getting a 90% chance of rain with some really rough wind, if you'd like to call it high wind speeds. And then moving on to Friday, though we're going to be getting some rain, it's really only going to be earlier in the morning where we're going to be getting that rain. By around the afternoon, that rain should be done, but we're pretty sure 80% chance of rain in that morning. Now Saturday, we're going to be seeing sun again, 72 high, a low of 49, not even that cloudy really. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're going to be seeing some clouds again, small chance of rain on Sunday with 15% chance, but otherwise a high of 78, a high of 69, and a high of 66 throughout that beginning of next week. Otherwise, that's all I got for y'all. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thank you, Victor. To stay the course or to take a beat, that is a pressing question that the U.S. Federal Reserve has to answer, and it has to answer soon. The Reserve kicked off a 2-day meeting starting today, and announcements expected to come this afternoon. Karen Kaifa is in Washington to break it down.
The Federal Reserve sees inflation easing, but a shaky banking sector, making their decision on interest rates more complicated.
I think what matters is, can they stabilize the banking system so they can free up their ability to tackle inflation?
Since last March, the Fed has pushed interest rates higher to make borrowing more expensive and cool spending. Annual inflation was down to 6% in February from a 40-year high of 9.1% last June. The Fed's target inflation rate is 2%. The labor market remains strong, keeping labor costs high for companies. So these economic indicators would typically point to another rate increase Wednesday.
Taken in isolation, I mean, the economy looks very, very good right now. And yes, the Fed would probably be raising rates by 25 basis points without what's going on right now. That said, what's going on right now is very unsettling.
But the Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank collapses raise questions about what banks can handle, with higher interest rates pushing down the value of bonds they purchased when rates were low. Professor Valentina Bruno of American University says the Fed has little room for miscalculation.
If the Fed hit the brakes too hard, it could be the beginning of a slowdown or even worse, a painful recession. And if the Fed hit the brakes too little, then inflation may go out of control.
The recent rate hikes put pressure on consumers from both sides, still facing high inflation at the grocery store and elsewhere, while paying more in credit card interest on mortgages and auto loans. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
But the issue of rising costs goes far beyond the banks. Some schools are struggling to handle student lunch debt now that a federal pandemic program that paid for meals is over. On top of that, inflation is forcing many cafeterias to raise prices on breakfast and lunch. Some schools are leaning on donations to help balance their books. In South Dakota, the Meade School District says lunch debt is about $500 higher this year than before the pandemic. To help close the gap, organizations, businesses, and individuals in the state's southwestern areas have been chipping in. The district's food services director says the school's nutrition program criteria isn't keeping pace with inflation. She says lunch participation dropped about 20% in her area after the federal program ended on September 30th. A pressing issue, she says not all students get enough to eat at home.
The World Cup final may soon be looking for a new home. Could Dallas be a potential landing spot? Stick around and find out.
And renting in Dallas may soon have a new look. We'll tell you why right after the break.
Has the weight of stress and anxiety ever felt too heavy to overcome? Wish there was a safe place to confide in? Wish granted. At UNT, we offer counseling and testing services to students located on the 3rd floor of Chestnut Hall. UNT, we're here for you.
I'm here to rescue you.
Oh, my prince.
No so fast.
This story is going to be awesome.
The debate about short-term rental homes in Dallas has been ongoing for 3 years now, and the STR opponents are pushing the city council to approve a new zoning plan that would effectively outlaw all forms of short-term rentals in single-family neighborhoods. The proposed zoning plan would immediately shut down most short-term rentals operating now, but it remains to be seen if the city council will vote on the measure before May's election, where at least 2 new city council members will be elected.
I always look forward to Wednesdays because I get to learn about the new and fun places around Denton. I mean, I'm always looking for new restaurants to go to.
I agree. It's always a bonus whenever our friend Kennedy has a new spot for us. So Kennedy, go ahead and give us what you got.
Thank you, Lillian and Ariana. And boy, do I have a treat for you today. Spring is here, and it's always good to go to the Mediterranean this time of year. Don't have time to travel across the world? Don't worry about it, because you can go to the Denton Square and grab a bite of Gyro 360, and you will feel as if you were really in the Mediterranean with this hotspot eatery. Square, Gyro 360 opens its doors to give Denton residents a taste of Mediterranean cuisine. Being able to survive the quarantine helped Gyro 360 build good relationships with local customers and leave its mark in the Denton dining community. This restaurant offers authentic Mediterranean food with various items on the menu, from salads, bowls, and sandwiches. The classic Mediterranean dessert baklava is also served as well.
We offer an array of different foods. We have a salad. Our falafel is very good, and our feta fry with our house sauce is just amazing. They do not pay me to say that. It's delicious. Our gyro is fantastic, and our chicken is made from scratch in the bag. With our Mediterranean seasoning, everything's cut, everything's fresh, all tomatoes are fresh, everything is fresh. Clean, just can't get better.
Many locals have come to love this restaurant as the quality of food and service is a smash hit. Regular customer Kaylin Gunn enjoys her experience with gyro every time.
It's just really good Mediterranean food. I love Mediterranean food, and I had it when I was younger, and then this place was built a couple of years ago. It's pretty new. They got Best of Denton in 2020, but the service is always super great, and the food is amazing. I always get the OG gyro with gyro meat. You can get it with chicken or gyro meat, but it's just at the top of the menu, and it's really good.
Gyro 360 is not only a great hotspot for those looking to dive into a Mediterranean dish in Denton, but a place to engage with the community. Gyro 360 is open every day from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. for those looking to have a taste. This is Denton Eats, and I'm Kennedy Fowler. Back to you ladies at the desk.
I don't know about y'all, but that North Texas NIT game against OSU had me on the edge of my seat last night.
It was definitely a nail biter for sure, but I know you, Mark, have a lot more in store for us.
Yeah, we're going to Vegas, baby. We're going to Vegas. That and more when we come back. That and out of this world news when we come back.
Can I see your voter registration, please? All right, you're good. No registration, no entry. All right. Let me see your voter registration card, please.
I'm not registered to vote.
No registration, no entry.
Dude, my friends are already in there.
No registration, no entry.
What the?
Join the club. Register to vote today.
Did you know you have access to video equipment like DVDs, video games, and cameras? That's right, you do. Come on down to Chilton Library and fulfill your media dream. Located on the bottom floor next to the student sculpture. Hope to see you there soon. Hey girl, you know you
Widely regarded as the greatest sporting spectacle in the world World Cup is coming here to Dallas. The FIFA World Cup slated to begin in 2026 with 3 host nations instead of the traditional one, those being Canada, the United States, and Mexico, are beginning to choose what city should get to host the final game for the most watched game in the world, and AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, Texas is one of those candidates. Those other candidate stadiums are newly built SoFi Stadium near Los Angeles, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, and MetLife Stadium in New York. But a recent report from the Sunday Times in the United Kingdom suggests that SoFi Stadium might not be able to meet set rules placed by FIFA when it comes to how the field is shaped, and fixing the problem would require SoFi Stadium to remove seats, thus not being able to meet the 80,000 seat requirement by FIFA. While AT&T Stadium has the same issue, it is a much easier fix by just elevating the field, and AT&T Stadium also can expand its seating for up to 105,000 people. With the Cowboys also confirming with local station WFAA that it will be adding $295 million in renovations as well, it is safe to say that Jerry World is making a strong push to have the World Cup final here in North Texas. And we're talking about so many cities in the United States. Let's go to Vegas, baby. Our UNT Mean Green men's basketball team are heading to the semifinal of the NIT tournament after upsetting the Oklahoma State Cowboys in overtime, 65-59. Star guard Tyler Perry had 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. And Mulie Sissoko was a menace on the glass, getting a double-double with 12 points and 15 rebounds. And Kyle Huntsberry did a little bit of everything, getting 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. UNT will play second seed Wisconsin on March 28th, and I'm sure they will be doing everything in their power to go to that championship game. This will be UNT's first time to win the NIT tournament, as it is already the deepest they've ever gone before. Truly a special team this year. And speaking of special, the tournament that gave us some of the best games of baseball we've seen in a while has sadly come to a close. The World Baseball Classic ended last night in an unbelievable way as Japan went on to beat the United States in the championship game 3-2. This is the 3rd time Japan has won the WBC, but this time it definitely felt more special than past years. The ending pitch came down to a pair of teammates of the Los Angeles Angels who are both widely regarded as top 5 players in the MLB. On a full count, Shohei Ohtani struck out Mike Trout to send everyone in Japan into a frenzy, beating the defending WBC champs, being the United States. This came just days after Japan beat a red-hot Mexico team in walk-off fashion. Many people said that this was one of the best baseball they have ever seen, and many regarded the atmosphere to being better than playoff and even World Series games. Truly a tournament to remember. That is all I have for it at sports. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you guys for watching ntTV News at noon.
Join us again tonight at 6 and tomorrow at noon here on North Texas Television.